Howdy guys, welcome back to another one. In today's video, we're putting together another double-aught assembly here. This time 3-inch 12 gauge, 15 pellets. Now this one is something we have put together quite a number of over the years and have enjoyed just using them for fun at the range. With buffer, this is going to be about 1 7/8 ounces, which is near 3-inch 12 gauge max with lead. It can go to 2, but you got to use something different than what we're using here and a different sort of wad. But it can work if you want it to. It's more suited to 3.5 inch, obviously. But we're using some cool looking pellets today. These are powder coated Ford Blue 33 cal double-aught. That's one of the components, obviously 15 of them. We're using this stuff right here, which is my favorite. Can't go without it. I recommend that to everyone. Oh yeah, the number of the day, 26. The wad is the short shell wad. And what you gotta do to it, thankfully, is really easy. Strip the petals off. That's it. Those are designed to be torn off if you want them to, which is a big plus. No need for cutting them off or anything. The hull is a, get down there, 3-inch Shadot hull, already primed CX2000, and the dust is already in it. We are going to use some buffer. I'm using mix number 47 today, which is a really good option. It's meant for, I believe, non-tox, steel, bismuth, things like that. And, well, their original buffer can be used for anything. All 3 of their buffers can be used for anything, but the ITX specifically, which has been rebranded to BSB, is suited more for TSS and things similar to that, high density shot. But beyond that, the very last thing we're using is a very thin sliver of a 12 gauge Maxi Nitro card as an overshot card, and that's it. So like I was saying, we have put together a great deal of these over the years and have been shooting them at the range just for fun. They kick quite hard out of a single shot that weighs about 5.5 to 6 pounds with just a hard plastic butt pad. Yeah, they produce quite a bit of recoil, as you would expect, but putting them in a 7 or 8 pound pump, I feel like anybody that has any sort of experience with any sort of recoil to a greater degree can handle these just fine. It is a pretty much standard 3-inch buckshot assembly. But anyway, to get this started, we already have the dust in there, short shell wad right on top. Now, what I like to do sometimes is take a 28 gauge nitro card and take one section of it and stick it inside of the middle of the wad, because it is sort of bowl shaped in there. The edges of the wad do have a little lip that comes up, but it's not needed. Sometimes I like to do that, sometimes I don't. In theory, it can add a little bit of extra strength to the bottom of the shot cup, which will prevent a pellet from blowing through it. If you guys want to add it, it'll make it flat rather than a bowl shape. But after that, we need 15 pellets of 33 cal double-aught buck. These are tumbled, polished, and then powder coated, so really high end, if you want to call it that, pellet here. They stack by 3s. If you want to, you can add Mylar wrap. Instead of stacking them, you could also just drop them in there and let them find their own way, as Wade Rush likes to say. After that, just add you some buffer of your choosing. Keep in mind that PSB buffer does way more than BPI buffer. It is denser. But if I remember right, about 2.5 scoops is what you need. There's 2 even. I've managed to lose my vibrating massager from Amazon. I don't know where it is, but anyway, I'll just tamp this down. It don't take that long. Yeah, just a little bit more. Maybe like 2 1/10 scoops is what you need, not 2.5. This is a Lee 2.2 cc dipper. And yeah, a little bit more. Maybe 2 1/5. Anyway, I want to talk about something here. I have been using this since 2019, so about 5 years. The more you use the Lee dippers, the more they will become worn. I don't know if you guys can tell, but the top of it is sort of U-shaped now. You can really tell there. And that is just from scooping up powder and buffer. It's just worn from 5 years of heavy use. Just wanted to point that out. If you run into that situation, obviously your dipper's not going to have the same volume that it originally had. So just keep in mind of that. I do have a brand new one that Avid Waterfowler sent here. Actually, he sent a whole set of these, which I'm highly appreciative of. But overshot card, again, I'm using one thin slice of a 12 gauge maxi nitro card there, and we are ready for a fold crimp. Backstation of the Lee Loadall. Pre-crimp looks beautiful, and the Rabasator. Ready to go for the final crimp. That's going to look good. Now this is my 10 gauge press. I've said that quite a lot lately, but still, it can turn out some pretty good looking 12 gauge crimps. You just will end up with a mushroom top, a flared out top, which you will have to correct with a BN2, or you could just not use a 10 gauge press to do 12 gauge. For those of you that don't know, this was originally a 12 gauge Lee Loadall that I hollowed the tube out with a Dremel and the shell holder plate, and I hollowed it out with a Dremel and a flat file to be able to do 10 gauge, but obviously it can still do 12 if you want it to. The only downside is you will end up with, again, a mushroom top shell. So here's the completed shell. As you can see, nothing wrong with it at all. There's no bulging anywhere. That is an excellent looking crimp, but like I always say, because of the clear hull, you can't really make out the taper too well, but trust me, it's there. That is a flawless looking shell right there. And it looks awesome with the green wad in there. At this point, it's just a brush wad or cushion gas seal, but still a wad. And the blue pellets and the salt and pepper looking buffer. Overall, it makes for a really eye-catching looking shell here. But again, your shells don't have to look pretty. I just sometimes like making, as Josh puts it, art in the form of shotgun shells. If you have everything except for the short shell wad, that's okay. The MG42, that's a BPD-10. How'd that get in there? Okay, this time it is an MG42. If you look closely, they are the exact same wad, except the MG42 has a much taller shot cup. And these pedals also are easily detachable, but with the MG42, there are hinges down in the bottom of the shot cup. I'll try to show you. You can see them right there on this side. The very bottom of the shot cup, see those two bright lines in there? Those are hinges. When you tear the pedals off, the hinges will still be there to some degree. So with the MG42, I would recommend using a nitro card in the base of it just to make it flat. That will allow you to stack pellets by threes a lot more conveniently. And obviously, you could also do this same thing with an X12X gas seal or any sort of gas seal, fiber, cushion wad, felt, cork, whatever it may be, waxed hard card, and build up stack height exactly the same as this and go with it that way. But if you, well, I recommend grabbing this thing. It's a perfect fit, no filler required, and well, it's just that simple. What I was getting at there is if you go with an X12X or any sort of gas seal, you will have to use other components too, such as the felt, cork, fiber, waxed hard card, to get the right stack height you need. And this just reduces the excess components or extra components and keeps the cost down. And before I close this video out, you guys may have seen these back here. Well, what that is a, well, Sabo projectile, 12 gauge obviously, 2 3/4 inch. That is a sneak peek at some upcoming content. We have never shot anything like this through the Ultra Slug on camera. We have off camera though, but that's been years ago before we were doing YouTube. These should be really, really accurate. The ones we were shooting before YouTube was Hornady SSTs. And I feel like these will do a very, very good job. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. We always appreciate that. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section below and we'll get back to you. And if you want to, go check out our Patreon. It's as low as $1 a month. You guys get early access to content. A link to that, as well as a link to our Instagram, Rumble, and merch store will be in the description below. But other than that, you guys take it easy. We'll see you in the next one.